What is this one on again?
What do you mean, what is this one on?
What are we talking about with this one?
What's up, guys? It's your one singular host, Chris Michael here.
Don't get it, because now I don't know where we are in frame.
Okay, well, I know where I am in frame. This is a podcast episode that I think will be super useful to a lot of people who are new to the Magic community.
Oh, yeah, now I know where
Yeah.
Sorry. It's like 1:30, 1:45.
It's got to be later than that.
Don't
now.
talk. Yeah, be careful. It's 1:30.
1:30.
Yeah.
And we have a gig at 9:30.
We have to be up in 6 hours.
Wait, are you serious about that? Oh.
Pretty sure. Yeah, we got to make that Dunkin' run.
Oh my God, guys.
Yo, side note.
They put our hotel. I said like they. We booked a hotel.
Like they knew.
Yeah.
They're like, we're gonna get these two.
Yo, City Manifesto. No, City Harmonics Manifesto played in my head. They're like saying amen as we pulled it up to this Sheraton hotel.
We're in Tyson's Corner.
It's right next to that freaking Dunkin' Donuts.
Like
Let me just tell you
right
something.
Yo.
Love some Dunkin' Donuts.
Yo, the vanilla chai frozen chai tea.
Absolute diarrhea. No, I'm just kidding.
Literally all day. You gotta wear a diaper. It's terrible.
You have to wear a diaper. Okay, so
Well, good thing we're going to a first baby party.
I'm gonna go.
Baby birthday.
I don't think we are at all.
We should really do every podcast from now on at 1:30 in the morning.
We're not doing any first birthday parties. Okay?
We're not.
Also, did you guys know? Fun fact for you: I'm not really doing birthdays anymore.
Nah,
I literally I've been.
It's a rare occasion.
November is
They're
the
like
only month.
$3,000 to do a birthday party.
I will. That's my new. Anyway, people literally were thinking about booking me for a birthday party. Now they're not even going to make that call. Listen. If you're doing one on a Tuesday,
I don't think clients will actually watch the podcast, but they might.
This is for magicians mostly. Okay, let's get into it here. This is something.
Speak about how to get birthday parties.
Yeah, actually, great segue into it.
You're welcome.
One thing I wanted to say is this is something that I think a lot of this material is already out there and very public for you guys. A lot of things I'm going to touch on are things that are not necessarily brand new, but I do have a lot of unique takes on them that you may not have heard before.
Well, we're talking about getting gigs, all kinds, not just birthday parties.
Yeah, how to get first gigs.
First gigs.
Mm-hmm, that's what we'll call it, first gigs.
A huge issue starting
this is
out.
A game of momentum, and how do you build momentum? And I'm going to tell you that, and I am going to literally tell you all of the things that I did, which, listen, this is something that I have to pull from my inner soul to talk about. Because,
and I'll tell you where I am right now after that.
Yeah, I want to pull from my inner soul, because a lot of things I'm going to say are things that work specifically for me, and I fear that if too many other people do them, now they won't be working uniquely for me. But you know what? I'm going to legitimately put this out there for you guys so that you can make the most of it, because really it's a game of we want magicians to win in general, not just Chris Michael. So I'm going to tell you the guys, the inside scoop and secrets that I have personally found work that I think a lot of people are not yet doing, along with some of the tips, like I said, have been covered numerous times. I really, really hope that you guys take this one seriously. If you're thinking about getting into magic and haven't really booked a lot of gigs yet, this is how you gain the momentum. Shane, what were you going to say?
Well, this isn't a good spot to say it now because start with yours and I'll go into it.
Yeah. So
what is the first step? First step, if you will.
Actually, the first step, believe it or not, Google my business listing. If you're thinking about doing magic at all...
No. Even before that, this is something you brought up. I'll remind you.
I know, but literally, I'm going to say if you want to do any paid gigs, just put a Google My Business listing on there. The reason why I'm saying do that first is because literally after the first gig you do, whether it's free, whether it's a birthday party, whether it's your mom's house, you can get a review.
Yeah.
And you need to start accumulating reviews 10 days ago. So
yeah, seriously, Google reviews are a must-have.
A must-have, because people rely so heavily on reviews. It's Yelp culture and it's Amazon culture. Amazon has shaped the culture as we know it today in terms of getting things instantaneously, in terms of price shopping, which is something that I'm going to tell you not to worry about, but in the beginning is certainly an issue.
You have such a great way to automatically negate the pricing issue. Literally within the first 30 seconds of a phone call if they bring it up.
Yep, and then which we won't even really touch on this podcast. That's going to be on a later one.
Sorry.
Because that's ultimately in the beginning, you're not going to be in those high rates where you're going to be affordable.
Okay,
more than likely.
That makes sense.
You know what I mean? And hey, if you don't want to be, don't be. But you're more than likely going to be affordable, so you can gain the momentum because it's about the number of gigs in the beginning.
Right.
And connections and where you're at, and also the venues.
Yeah.
So the first thing that I'm going to tell you guys to do is find out what market you want to be in. And some of you already have an idea of this if you're doing gigs at all. But don't be afraid to say no to certain markets and yes to certain ones that you may not have other. Okay, what I'm saying is this, like, you want to do adult shows, loosely fit that in, right? Like a retirement community, they have budgets that they have to do events every single month. I guarantee you can get into a retirement community today if you pick up the phone and make some calls.
Okay, look, before even then, because this is something that you mentioned to me before we even, like earlier today when we were talking about what we're going to talk about on the podcast tonight, before you even reach out, make sure you have a good show, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, make sure you're not just starting out. Like, make sure you have a decent show put together, right?
Yeah,
and make sure, actually, would you even say make sure you have like a 10-minute show, a 30-minute show,
Definitely.
an hour-long show?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right,
and
okay.
This is the thing that I didn't want to hang people up on. I didn't want to touch on this too much because I don't want people to be hung up on the fact of whether or not their show is good. You know how your show will be good is doing gigs.
Yeah, if you get out there and do it.
You know,
the audience will tell you if you're good or not.
Yeah, and I think it was, who is it, Penn and Teller, they say, anybody who's doing gigs will eventually get good.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Repetition, yeah.
Repetition, yeah. Through repetition, you'll eventually get good as long as you're making proper changes. And as long as you're somewhat aware of how shows are going,
right,
they will get better.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to push you out of frame here. So the first thing that I would tell you to do is find places that the entry level is really low. And it sounds like birthday parties entry level is low, but really it's not. The type of birthday parties that the entry level is low are people who are just looking for anything that's affordable. And I wouldn't say that's necessarily a good environment to start in. A really good environment to start in would be...
That's a tough environment to start in.
Super tough. And actually, birthday parties are some of the most supremely professional environments that you can be in, and some of the most competitive, and also some of the most difficult to get. Depends on where you live, but Silver Spring, Bethesda, DC area, there are some of the best magicians in the world. Some, if I said their name, every single person would have known, and they're still rocking birthday parties out here on Sundays and Tuesdays and whenever.
Out there rocking living rooms.
Yeah, rocking living rooms on Tuesdays, and then doing, $4,000 theater shows twice a week in Washington, D.C. Those guys are out there. Yeah. So what I was going to say is find a place where the entry level is pretty easy. Retirement community is a good example of them. School is not a good example. A lot of people think schools are entry level. They are not. But a fundraiser, a local charity event. These are things that you probably could get paid.
Charity events actually really good.
Yeah, charity events also have budgets, so if you're looking to get paid, they will. But in the beginning, it's more about who can you get in front of and hand out business
cards.
Getting
your name out there.
Yeah, getting your name out there.
Yeah.
So always get a Google My Business listing. Even before you have business cards, get a Google My Business listing, because now what you can do is if you don't have a business card, you can direct people there and they can find your information. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to walk you through the steps of how to make a Google My Business listing. It's super simple. It requires your address.
Literally Google how to do it.
And then after every single show you do, email that person and tell them, hey, I'm trying to live my dream. If you want to help me live my dream, please leave a 5-star review. It means the world to me. And if you could just write a couple sentences about your experience. Boom, bang, boom. You're starting to accumulate Google reviews. Yeah. So I would even say do 5 to 10 free shows. Get 5 to 10 good Google reviews, which sadly is more than most magicians have on their Google My Business listing. Yeah. I think I have 136 right now. Maybe probably literally going up as we speak. 136 right now. I actually think it's 134. Whatever. And that's because after every show, and I've done, I would say, I don't know if it's thousands, but definitely 8,000 shows. And out of 1,000 shows, I've got 134 reviews. It's a numbers game, right?
Right.
So
not everyone's going to. Yeah.
Now, if
I remember when I very first started, I had to email that person as a corporate gig. I had to email them 3 times.
Yeah.
But people get busy, right? It was literally. The 2 times I asked for it, because I forget to ask for it, which is terrible. Don't do what I did. But the exact same thing happened both times, where they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I completely forgot. I'll get to it. And then I had to email them again. And then 2 weeks later I had to email. And then finally they were like, they got to the point where they were like, okay, now I've got to do it, right?
Here's some insider scoop knowledge.
Please tell us.
The guys who have the most 5-star Google reviews tend to be the guys who are contacted the most. Now it's up to you to convert that lead. And your strategy of running a business is how you're going to do that. The insider scoop knowledge is this. To get people to write a review easily, it's about providing a frictionless way to do that. Frictionless meaning less effort, like the least effort possible. The way that I do it is I send them a link that when they click on it, immediately it opens up like a little thing where they can write the review and hit enter, and the review automatically gets sent to my Google My Business.
Is that something that's built into your CRM system? Or
Nope, that link is actually, don't get it from your desktop. Go to Google on your phone, on your mobile device. Go to your Google My Business listing and go to leave a review. Check that 5 stars, and then copy the address bar, and then paste that into your email that you send.
Interesting, because I just went straight on my desktop, because I still put the link in the email, but it takes them out of the email.
A lot of people are using their phone. 66, actually, I have the statistics on it. 66% of people who engage with me are engaging with me through their phones, whether it's an email or contacting me through my website.
Right.
So think about it. People who open an email on their phone, they want to quickly get rid of the review. Maybe they're at dinner, maybe they're like in an Uber. They can click the link and quickly go to it. The desktop link will only open on a desktop properly. The mobile link opens properly on a desktop and a mobile device. So if you go to where you can leave a Google review and you check the 5-star box, which I don't even think does anything, but I do it because I think I'm somehow affecting the universe to give me 5-star reviews. You copy that bar where it's literally the place where you're supposed to type in the review is open, and put that in a email. Don't put in this big ugly link. Hyperlink it to something that says click here to write a 5-star review. You're going to get a lot more return on your emails that way.
Yeah.
Getting a Google My Business listing is awesome because as you generate reviews, you actually get bumped to the top of Google. So literally, if you do 5 free shows in a week, which is a lot, or 5 free shows in a month, you now have 5 Google reviews, which might be more, or even the second best in your area.
Right.
And now you're ranking at the very top of Google within a month.
Wow.
That's it. And then you know what? If you're at the very top of Google and your website looks good, you're getting a lot of calls. Now, if you're not doing, let's just talk about some options for what you can do if you're not doing that quickly. Like we said, calling retirement communities, calling charity events that are going on. You can look up charity events that are happening nearby. You can find ones that happened last year, contact those people and see if they're happening again this year, and just literally say, hey, I love what you guys are doing. I took a look at the website. I really like the mission that you guys offer. Something I'm super interested in attending. I thought maybe, I could just come in. I'd love to just donate some of my time. I'm a professional magician. I'd love to get people cheering, laughing, clapping, and sharing some awesome videos of your event just to help spread the word of what you guys do.
Quick business tip on that. Do not give it away for free. Donate it. Because you can write that off at the end of the year as a business expense.
And also to say that you want to donate your time implies that there's value.
Right.
Yeah, whereas if you say I'm going to do something for free.
Here's another thing you could do. It also goes towards business and it goes towards perceived value, is actually send them an invoice for the amount that you would say you would charge $500 for that. Send an invoice that says $500, like the gig, 1 hour, $500, and then at the bottom say, amount donated, $500, and then zero that out at the end. That way you're actually sending them something that says, listen, this is what I would normally charge, just so you know.
And as a follow-up, if they have a future event, then they reach back out to you and say, hey, we would love to have you back this year. And say, hey, I really can only really donate, to the cause one time just because my schedule's so busy now, or whatever you want to say. Or
I've even had certain people say, like, listen, I only allot 4 of these charitable events a year, and I've already booked out for all 4.
And you could always up the rate that you think you would charge them next year, and then just say, hey, but I'll tell you what, I'm willing to come in and do it by half. The number you put
donate it, do it for $1,500, but charge $750.
Yeah, and the other thing too is the number you put on an invoice can be literally anything. It's what are you valuing it at, and then what amount that you're valuing yourself at are you willing to donate? Be reasonable, because they'll sniff it out if you're charging $22,000 for half an hour of strolling magic.
You're not David Copperfield.
Yeah, that seems he's charging more than that.
He's charging a lot more.
Make sure to do that. Get everybody there to write a review. On your Google business listing,
so Google review, clients. Retirement communities, charitable events. What else? What else can you actively
fundraisers?
Reach?
Fundraisers are a great thing. Fundraisers are a little bit harder than
fundraisers for what specifically? Though?
I would just look. You don't want to do a company fundraiser. Like if they're raising, I don't know what. I've done fundraising events for companies, but I can't really put my finger on what they were. I'm drawing a blank on that.
Well, a lot of are you talking about like nonprofits?
Not really nonprofits. Like sometimes companies will run a fundraiser for to benefit something outside of their company.
What about school fundraisers?
Nope, those are difficult. School fundraisers are incredibly difficult to get into.
Because I remember seeing several times like magicians that are pushing like $1,000 school shows, fundraising shows, like that sort of thing. Like I even approached like 20 schools last year about it. Like I zipped from it. Maybe that's probably the way I approached them, to be completely honest. But
Yeah,
not sure if that's something we'll get into. But
I'm trying to think of some other entry level stuff. One thing I'm going to tell you guys that's super important is to make sure that when you're going to these free gigs, whatever they are, that you feel that you get in there, make sure they know that you're bringing value and that it's not something you would normally do for free, but you're willing to do for free for them because you specifically like their cause and their event. You want it to feel like you're not just offering it to anybody, but you're offering it specifically to them, so they feel that they're getting a good deal on this.
Yeah.
The other thing you want to do is connect the dots while you're there. Bring your cards or bring your way to pull up your Google My Business listing and tell people, ask them specifically what they do and what events they have. Because if you're just showing up to these free events without being able to profit off of or getting a return on that investment of your time, you're really working backwards. So what I mean by connecting the dots isn't, oh, you own a company? Oh, yeah, I do corporate shows. All right, cool.
Yeah.
But what department do you work in? Oh, I work in customer service. Oh, no way. Did you know Customer Service Appreciation Week is in April? I would love to talk to you a little about doing the kickoff event for your, a lot of people will have a conference or an all-hands meeting for your Customer Service Appreciation meeting that you guys do. It's really awesome, and I do it every year. Now, if you're not experienced, you may not know when these things come around. You may not know what things to offer, but offer it as specific as you can. Like if they work in, maybe they are somebody who works at a school. Awesome, yeah. I would love to talk to you what it looks like for me to come out and have a station at your field day this year. Just think of something specific and offer that. Maybe you meet somebody who works at I'm going to give you just another random example. Somebody who works at a Parks and Rec department. Oh, you work for Parks and Rec? Oh my gosh, yeah, I would love to talk to you guys about coming out during the summertime when you're having your summer camps and just adding value to them so that you're more likely to capture those students for the next year.
yeah. So I'm going to switch to two things because I want your thoughts on them. Even before all of this, or in the middle of the beginning of all of this, is literally tell anyone, and like if you're just now getting to the point where you want to start doing shows and start charging, literally tell anyone and everyone that that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like how are people going to know that to hire you if they don't even know that you're available to be hired?
Everyone wants to hire the expert. And I'm speaking about these things specifically from my experience. You're not going to have those experiences. Just get as specific as you can. You talk to somebody and they say that they work in law enforcement. I don't know what I would tell law enforcement, but I'd say, hey, I bet you guys have some, I'm sure that you guys have some staff parties. You wouldn't say I'm sure that you do, but like, hey, during your next staff party, something that I really love to do is come in and just get people socializing a little bit. A lot of these things can be really hoity-toity and uptight, and I understand that you guys do have to follow protocol, but it'd be cool to just, show a little bit more of the human side of you guys and just get each other more comfortable with the people who work on their staff. I think it's a great idea for you guys to think about with the battalion.
Yeah.
Just make, you're gonna have to practice come up with this stuff on the spot, but if you can do that for them, now you're speaking their language, you're being specific about a problem you can solve for them. You just have to find a problem within that niche or within that market or within that company that you can solve for them.
Yeah.
Literally, whatever you think would be a cool thing to do, offer that.
Yeah. The other thing I'll say too is not only telling people that this is what you do now and you're wanting to do shows, but getting into the areas and in front of where your potential client hangs out.
Yeah.
Like for instance, restaurants is a good thing to get into, right? For family or corporate, and I'll talk about both. But getting into restaurants is not something where you would agree that that's a whole nother, and there's so much actually really great material out there. There's fantastic people you can talk to that know all about how to get into a restaurant gig.
I think Jamie Grant, The Approach, still one of the greatest books out there on that.
Yeah.
Michael Eaton's got some material coming out.
Yeah, David Stone has some great material about walk around and doing restaurants and stuff. Jay Sankey's got some really good. So what I was going to say is, for instance, for the family stuff, so maybe you want to go into pitching an Applebee's or CC's Pizza or like a family style of TGI Fridays, that sort of thing, about, hey, listen, why don't I come in one night a week, do some walk around magic. Say, for instance, you're a kids performer or a family performer. most chain restaurants like the Applebee's and the TGI Fridays have a kids night, right?
Yeah.
So you can come in during kids night. Say, hey, why don't you just, instead of just offering a kids night, why don't I just come in and offer like a walk around for an hour and entertain the kids while they're here, right?
And say,
super valuable to you guys.
One thing that you can say too is, hey, this is something that typically your marketing department would cover, but in this case, I'm just wanting to do it. I just want to make sure that I can promote. If you're comfortable with me coming out here just to promote myself, I'm happy to cover the marketing cost. I'll even send you guys an invoice just to see what where we're at. And same thing, invoice it, balance it out to zero.
Yeah. The other thing I want to say, because I want your thoughts.
Oh, hold
on
on, wait. Let me just pause. The reason why it's for marketing is because this is specifically something that I say is, I want to get people excited about something that they've never seen before. Most people never get a chance to see a magician, and if they get one right there in front of them, they'll be pulling out their phones, taking pictures, videos. It goes in their Instagram stories. People see it. Where was that? Oh, did you know that was at TGI Fridays? Wait, what? Yeah, kids night. I guess they have magicians. Boom, boom, boom. Marketing.
Yeah.
So that's why magicians are a marketing expense more often than not. You could say, hey, I can increase revenue and encourage people to buy more drinks. Literally, when I do walk around, I ask people like, hey, if this card is underneath your hand right now, I said, you gonna buy the table drinks? And they'll literally be like, oh, I'll buy the table drinks. And man, they'll do it. So, but safe bet, marketing.
Yeah. The other side of that is, so you want to get into the corporate arena. So if you think about restaurants, where do the CEOs and CFOs and business owners and all those guys hang out? They probably hang out at the steakhouses, right? They probably hang out at the wine. Yeah, B-dubs. That's
B-dubs
weird.
is like one of those like.
Those are the cool CEOs.
I don't know. It's like the CEOs who own construction companies that like don't want to eat steak that night.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So, for instance, like you've got a gig in Baltimore, a monthly gig in Baltimore that you took specifically because you knew that big-time corporate people were going to be there.
Yeah, and that's something I knew to connect the dots on, as I was talking about earlier. I want to say this to you guys, because this might not have sunk in before. Hopefully this will sink in now. If you see a DJ at an event, when was the last time you saw that DJ and you went, you had an event and you went, I should probably hire that DJ for this? Never. And even if the DJ said, hey man, here's my business card. Yeah, I do private events, weddings, all that stuff. You probably never thought to hire that DJ. But if that DJ was like, ask questions about like, hey man, where do you work? What do you do? And you were like, oh, I'm a magician. He's like, oh, no way, man. Hey, I would love to talk to you about doing a theater show, and I'll run the full sound on it, and I'll actually customize the music fully for your show. We can have a meeting and I feel like it would take a lot off of your plate. I would love to come in and do it. Let's chat about that. I'd be like, whoa, let me at least send this guy an email. He connected dots like that. Same thing where if you're like, oh, your company, I would love to come in and perform for your corporate holiday party. Yes, but also that's so vague, like you work in customer service, do you work in construction? Oh, no way. I would love to find out when you guys have an open house that you're gonna, whatever it is. I'm kind of rambling on here, but hopefully you guys are digesting the point that I'm taking in, and you can speak their language and solve a problem that's what they're having. Because if you're offering them a service, they don't have a problem that they need fixed, you're not going to hire that service.
For instance, I'll give you guys a specific example that I've seen with Chris is you've told corporate clients before, hey, listen, you guys do staff appreciation, but have you ever noticed that you have staff appreciation, you have people from different departments and different floors, and they don't really know each other, so it's kind of awkward when they get into the situation, and only certain groups talk to their own group, and they don't talk to. So this is something that's great for you guys to actually create camaraderie and bring people together throughout your company. So that's solving a problem that they knew they had, but they probably weren't thinking of at the time, right? So again, that's the creating the points, right?
Me and Shane are trying to get you guys in the mindset of solving problems. If you're trying to get these first gigs, you're probably in the mindset of, I have a show, who needs shows? And the answer is no one needs shows, but they always need these other things solved. So you have to find the things that physically need shows no matter what, like retirement communities, charitable events, these type of things. They need shows no matter what. And then when you're there, you can work on that connection piece and helping people that are there solve problems. That's where you're going to get the most out of that. The other thing that I want to say about that, making the connections and trying to find out how to get more gigs from this. I know that I glazed over this. Business cards. Get business cards and hand those out to every person that you can. But try not to make sure that couple quick tips on business cards. Don't tear them in front of your client and makes them seem less valuable. Make sure when you hand it to them in a unique way. And also make sure that you ask for their business card or their email address. More likely than not, they won't follow up with you. But if you get a business card from them, you can email them and just say, hey, it was great meeting you. Really loved chatting. Just want to drop in my line and say, hey. They say, hey, back to you. You get a conversation going. Maybe you email back and forth for a couple weeks. And then when the moment strikes and it feels right, you can say, hey, super curious. I know you work at XYZ company. I could see your signature in your email. Or, hey, you mentioned you work here. Or, hey, where do you work?
Yeah.
And then you can ask them, literally if you build up a good connection with them, you can literally just ask, hey, where do you see something like what I do that you enjoyed at this event fitting into what you do at work? Super simple.
To end this out, and you're going to speak on this too, I'm going to give you guys actionable advice that all of this boils down to is not just solving problems. Let me preempt this by saying, last year I tried to get a bunch of associates, because I don't do kids shows, I don't do family shows, and so I was trying to go the corporate route and get associations that hold big events throughout the year.
Association and corporate are different. They're different, but for this...
Well, I was even trying to get some corporate stuff too. It all goes into the same subject, which is my approach was salesy, and I think that is why I didn't get anything off of it. Whereas the opposite of that is, it's not yes, you are solving problems for your potential client, but more so than that solving their problem is providing value to them, which is your approach first. Your approach, which should be the correct approach for everyone, is provide value first, and then see if it works for you to sell them your act or whatever it is.
Quote Gary Vee. Gary Vee has a book. It's called Jab, Jab, Jab,
Right Hook.
Right hook?
Yeah, jab, right hook.
And what that's about is value,
and then ask for the sale.
Yeah, so and that's something I really have a belief in. I will try to help people at least 3 times with something before I even get in the door to ask them. Actually, I was just a quick side note here, I was on the phone with the people repairing my car today, and they were telling me things that were wrong with my car. They checked out a few things I didn't even ask them to check out and said, hey, just so you know, you should... We can replace this for you, but honestly, it's a lot cheaper if you replace it yourself, and it's super simple. I wouldn't even, they told me a couple other things to look at, like, hey, just a heads up, your spark plugs, you don't really have to replace them yet, but I would definitely start thinking about it.
Yeah.
They're doing all this stuff that they didn't even ask for any payment for. I didn't even ask them to do, went above and beyond, and then after like 3 or 4 things, they're like, hey, another thing, I think that we're looking into going ahead and replacing this belt on your car. It does cost like another $230, but it's something that I would really recommend doing. And because they give me all this value, I'm almost like, oh, I trust you guys. Like, that trust is formed. Like, you just helped me out so much. You're like why would you help me with these things, but then also screw me over on this? It's not consistent. So I trust them. I was like, they must be just ultimately there to serve and help me. So I said yes to that thing. So it's the same thing. Jab, 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 right hook. 3 pieces of value to 1 ask.
Yeah. I think that's one of the most key things, if not the biggest key thing to take from this podcast is, if you're trying to get your first gigs, be the first one that provides value. Because I guarantee you that 90% of the other performers out there, myself included, up to recently learning this, was they're trying to sell first.
Yeah. That's a great way.
Yeah.
Google my business listing, get business cards, start generating reviews, and then learn how to provide value and turn the gigs that you do sparsely get and rarely get into more and more connections, branch out and build momentum to start a career.
Yep.